Tell him about how he wanted you
Come
to shoot
on.
his hand off.
I was going to shoot my hand off. And here all these dealers show up with cash coming out their pockets wanting to buy them.
Gray bands.
And this was the first ones. Hank Molt. He was really big then. I don't know what's happened to him now, but
I don't. Sure
he and a bunch of them. But
did you ever know Anson Wong?
Anson Wong over in Singapore. He and his brother run the place there that where you get if you want king cobras, and if you want the so-called pumpkin heads, the ones with the orange-colored heads, you contact Anson Wong. I don't know if he can ship, since he's had a lot of trouble with the federal government, but I think his brother can ship, and he kind of runs the company.
Are they still in business, do you know?
As far as I know, they are. I got a correspondence from him about a year ago.
Oh, wow.
So, about king cobras.
Yeah.
My wife saw it, and that was right after I had looked at what I was paying for a parviocula bite.
I was wondering if we could talk about that.
I've got the finger up there preserved.
Love to see that.
And they had to cut it off right here because of dry gangrene. It was, and of all, it had to be this finger because this is my grab hand.
Oh.
So I've got a prosthetic I can stick on, and it's just stiff, but at least wise I can still maintain it with my thumb.
So tell me about that day. What happened?
It was night, and my wife and I were trying to get a shipment off to Chicago, to the zoo, and also to the Field Museum. And the Forest Park had not a concession, but a zoo there that was really nice, really pretty. And they had one heck of a reptile collection. Well, they bought it.
So we're talking Bitis parviocula?
Yeah. And I got it in, looked at it, looked great, checked it out, make sure it didn't have mites or anything else coming from a dealer. Because the minute it hit, I was called, and I had to come up with $3,000. I put it in the box that it came in. Well, the box it came in was probably the original box, because at one end it had some nails instead of screws, and somebody had taken something to pry the box open and had shredded some of the plywood. Because, they use very thin, like 1/4-inch plywood on the top and the bottom. Well, as I put the bag in, my hand got caught up in all this rigmarole, splintering. And I felt something, but I thought, well. And then I got my hand out, and I looked, and there's some holes, and they're bleeding. And I asked my wife, she was there helping me. I said, Anna, did I just get hit by something? She said, I don't know, but I saw a sack come up. And she said, whatever was in there, I think bit you. I said, oh, God. And I looked over, and I saw the two, and I went to I went ahead and put the snake in and got it screwed in good. I went to the water faucet there in the kitchen, rubbed it off, and it was starting to kind of burn just a little, not a whole lot. Well, I tied a tourniquet right here, tight as I could. I figured the hell with it. If I'm going to lose my life, I'm going to at least give it hell and try and maintain some civility. And I just tied that tourniquet until this thing was purple. And I didn't count and then release count.
So was it on the tip of your finger?
No, it was right here.
Okay.
She got me I told her, I said, I'm going to die. That's what I told her. I'd like her to tell you, because She's the one that had to put up with this. I'd like you to come here and tell them about the night with this bite. Come along in here, please. I was going to shoot my hand off. I told her to go and get my pistol that was loaded with the 410 shells. And I was going to put one right there and blow off my finger. She didn't know where it was or where to look.
And about that time, blood started
Spurting.
everywhere. We had it. It's just like a squirt gun. And it was just
There was
all
spray, like an arterial
everywhere.
spray.
So
and it was unbelievable.
We went over. Well, first he asked me, did you go to the part where, did that snake bite me or did a splinter stick me? Did
Yeah,
you
because
in
I
there?"
didn't know.
Yeah, and I said, and I had seen the bag go up. Yeah, and so anyway, then we saw blood on the
On the bag.
On the
A
bag,
big
too.
splatter of.
But anyway, we went over and we went to the sink and he was running the cold water over this. And he looked over at me and he said, Anna, no one has lived through this. I'm going to die. And out of my mouth came, you're not going to die, but you're going to go through hell. And I said, and it was pouring down raining, big storm.
A storm. I mean, it was terrible.
It was terrible. And I said, now, Earl, we're going to drive to the emergency room, and I'm not going to drive fast, and we'll be just fine. He said, don't be nervous, because you're going to be fine. And we got there, and we went in, and we had this lady who's supposed to take us in, and she wouldn't give us her attention. And
She was talking to somebody on the phone, just, oh yeah, I know.
so Earl, I said, he's been bitten by a snake. And then Earl yells out, yeah, I've been bitten by a cobra.
Yeah, by King Cobra.
King Cobra. Well, we
That'll
got
get their
everybody's attention then.
I mean, all the
Man,
people
and
in the emergency
winding
room.
in there. And then as soon as they got him in and laying down, he stopped starting to have trouble breathing. But he was able to give the doctor and the nurses all directions on what they should do, because they were looking on the computer trying to figure out what to do, but that snake didn't show up on the computer.
I was having trouble breathing.
And he said, intubate me, and they did. And whenever they took him to the San Antonio
University Trauma Center.
I asked the doctor, I said, well, now what do you think? She says, he's grave. I really don't think he's going to make it. So he fooled them.
What was my blood?
Oh, when we got to the hospital, I had two of the four daughters. One took me up there and the other one met over because she lives in Bernie. And she had Earl already enrolled, and we went in and he was there. And we just stood there. They bandaged his hand and had it sticking up like this. His chest was just going like this. And my one daughter asked the doctor, said, well, how long will he be able to handle that? And the doctor said sometimes 2 minutes and sometimes a day. And so it did weaken his heart.
It was 300 and how many times? 340 times a minute? Or
something like that. It was tremendous.
Wow.
And it was just going so fast. And it was really...
But I finally woke up. They put me in a
like a medically induced coma?
Medically induced
they
coma.
did.
For 4 days?
Actually, no. It was only a couple of days.
Really?
You got through that, just really settled down real good, and they put you in the room, but you still was very disoriented.
Yeah, I know that.
And he was disoriented for quite a while.
Even when they brought me back, when she brought me back here, I couldn't remember things. I still can't remember a few things.
Yeah, he's
But,
still having them.
You know,
And what year was this?
it's 19.
5 years ago.
Yeah, and what got me is that there was a readout that a printed thing by A&M down at Kingsville, where they have They said, well, it must have been a very minute amount or a very small snake. The snake was almost 4 foot long.
We have it in the
Yeah,
freezer.
we have it frozen.
Oh, yeah.
And because it died,
Not with us.
not with us, but their heat went out up in Chicago, and everything froze.
Oh,
and they
gosh.
asked me, do you want it? Because if you don't, the Field Museum or some other places would like to have it. I said, I'd like to have it back. So they sent it back to me frozen. Then I read this thing further, and it shows you where medical or academia has gone. Not only did they say, well, it must have been a small snake, but they said it was a very minute amount of venom. How do you justify saying something like that when you don't know the MLD of the venom, the minimum lethal dose? That's
Right.
like saying a guy got hit by a Ferrari going, I guess, kind of fast. It's 200 miles an hour when it hit him.
So you're the only human survivor that I know of that bite.
Fortunately, I'm the only one that's ever, or I say fortunately for other people,
Fortunately for you.
because it has, I had to have a defibrillator put on my heart,
Yeah.
and then they put what's called a watchman, so I'll never get clots, and I'll never have any kind of arterial problem.
And his getting up and he's still weak. And then he had a multitude of other things happen to him
Yep.
that kept him down.
So did they amputate your finger while you were in a coma?
No.
No.
It was about 2 weeks later, and I saw the doctor, who's for 18 years has been head of the trauma center there at University Hospital San Antonio, and he said your finger looks good. I said, yeah, but I said it smells like leather. It wasn't wet gangrene. It was dry gangrene,
Wow.
and I know you all being associated with hospitals and what have you. It just kind of withered up, and it was black.
So you didn't suffer any type of compartment syndrome?
No, none. But I had some really sharp, young doctors there, and I had the older gentleman, Dr. I can't remember his name, Anna would know him, but he really knew his business. And that man stayed from 10 o'clock at night until 4 o'clock the next afternoon,
Wow.
watching me. And all I can say is, up there and an angel on my shoulder, because I've been bitten by a bushmaster,
Wow.
8 foot 2 inches, no antivenin, just like this, no antivenin. I've been bitten
Where were you bitten by the bushmaster?
here in the chest.
Whew.
It was in a big cage, and I was feeding it freshly thawed rats. It shot over the rat and nailed me. And there was no way I could back up. I saw it coming out of the cage, and then all of a sudden, poof. There's been so many times, and then 2 plane crashes.
What?
We totaled a Beechcraft Bonanza in 1981 on the main runway of San Antonio International Airport, coming back with a load of bushmasters from the Gladys Porter Zoo.
Oh my gosh!
And then another time was in Michoacan, Mexico. I was in Colima, and I had to get the mountain range on down, but there was no way to get to it because the roads were all tore up and everything. So there was a guy that had a plane, and it was just a little Piper Cub. He said, I can take you for so much. And I said, okay, and I know how to fly. And
Oh my gosh.
and out he comes with this Piper Cub that has canvas I guess they glue it on or something.
Oh my gosh.
We get up in the air, and I notice that this material is flapping on one side. And I said, hey man. I said, and he's got a bottle of hooch with him, some tequila. And he's,
Red flag.
no worry, gringo. I said, well, what kind of worry? You got parachutes, right? Oh, I don't need parachute with this. I said, well, look at here. Oh, I got to glue that. I forgot. I said, well, it's not going to come apart anymore. We hit a bougainvillea bush that was the end of this dirt runway that was about, I don't know, 7 or 8 feet high and just huge. And that bougainvillea bush stopped us. But the only problem was, you know, it has those big thorns on it. And there was some big, huge black ants that had made their home in that. Man, they were biting me all over the place, and I was trying to get out. He wasn't even feeling it because he was so inebriated.
Oh my gosh.